I never imagined one happy night could turn into a nightmare. It was my cousin's birthday, full of laughter, music, and cake. Everyone was dancing, hugging, taking pictures. I was smiling too. But just a few hours later, that smile was gone. I came home expecting silence. Just another normal night. But the moment I stepped into my room, something felt off. My drawer was open. My heart dropped. I had locked it myself before leaving. Inside that drawer was my safe, a small metal box I trusted more than anything. Bent down, hands shaking. The safe was still there, but not how I left it. It was slightly open. The lock, scratched up. I opened it and saw nothing. All the cash I'd saved for months was gone. Every single rupee. Over $9,000 worth of my hard-earned savings vanished. I checked my doors, my windows. Everything was locked. No signs of a break-in. The police couldn't find anything either. No fingerprints. No camera footage. Just a big empty safe and 1,000 questions. And the worst one, who could have done this? Only family and close friends had ever been inside my place. Only someone close would know where I kept that money. Only someone I trusted. 3 days later, the real shock hit me. I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw it. My cousin, the same one who'd hugged me that night, laughed with me, danced beside me, was standing next to a brand new car, smiling, happy, celebrating her new life. She said she paid in cash, and in that moment I knew something wasn't right. The person I'd never suspect, the one blowing out candles that night, might have been the one who broke into my safe. So I'll ask you this. What would you do if your own cousin stole your future and drove off in it? My name is Ayan, and for the past 11 months I've lived a life most people would call boring. No outings, no expensive coffees, no Netflix marathons. Just work, save, sleep, repeat, all for one dream, to open my own photography studio. Didn't grow up privileged. No family business, no hidden inheritance. If I wanted something, I had to earn it. And I did, by juggling 3 different jobs. Morning to evening, I worked behind the counter of a small electronics shop. After that, I edited wedding videos from my cramped bedroom desk, color grading till my eyes blurred. And on weekends, I became the camera guy, shooting birthday parties, school events, even a few chaotic toddler shoots. I lived with one rule. Every rupee counts. While others my age were buying bikes and phones, I was stacking bills in a small, heavy gray metal safe, tucked neatly inside the bottom drawer of my cupboard. No bank apps, no digital transfers. Just cold, hard cash, tangible, real, untouchable. By the start of this story, I had saved exactly $9,100. That money meant everything to me. It was my future. It was the lens I dreamed of, the studio rent for 6 months, and a tiny cushion to survive until business picked up. I guarded it like a dragon guards treasure. No one knew about the safe. Not even my closest friends. Except one person, someone I thought I could trust with anything. Her name was Emily. Emily wasn't just my cousin. She was like my little sister, best friend. And sometimes my biggest headache rolled into one. We were born just 4 months apart, grew up side by side, playing with the same broken toys, fighting over the TV remote, stealing each other's chips at family dinners. She was loud. She was dramatic. She could win an Oscar for fake crying. And she knew it. But underneath all that noise, Emily had a big heart. She called me Ayan Bai, even though we were practically the same age. She teased me constantly. Look at Mr. Serious again, counting his savings. You know you can just buy yourself a life, right? I'd laugh, and she'd grin. That was our thing, she'd say. When I'm rich and famous, I'll hire you as my personal photographer. And I'd reply, you better, I'm expensive, we were close. Or so I believed. Our family was one of those big, tightly woven Desi families. Loud dinners, shared rooftops, group chats that never stopped buzzing. If you needed sugar, you knocked on your cousin's door. If your phone died, someone tossed you a charger without asking. If you were tired, you napped on someone else's couch. There were no secrets. No locked doors. No one ever imagined stealing from family. That was just not how we were raised, so yes, maybe I got too comfortable. Maybe I believed no one would ever open my safe, because no one would even think to. That trust would come back to haunt me. It all began the week of Emily's 24th birthday. She'd planned a small party at her apartment. Nothing extravagant. Just the usual suspects, cousins, aunts, uncles, some college friends, fairy lights, and loud music. She called me 3 days before and said, "Ayan, bye. This year I don't want your tired photographer vibe. I want dance energy. Got E." "It?" I groaned. "Emily, I've worked 10 straight days." She laughed. "No excuses, you're coming. I want your boring self in a bright shirt, preferably not gray." Truth is, I was exhausted. Between shoots, edits, and delivering client photos, I barely had time to breathe. But Emily, she was important to me. No matter how tired I was, I couldn't say no. I even bought her a gift. A silver necklace with her name engraved on it. Simple, but thoughtful. Just like her. Before heading out to the party that night, I followed my routine. Same as always. Walked to my cupboard, opened the bottom drawer, unlocked the safe. Inside, stacks of cash, some in envelopes, some bundled tight. I counted them. Slowly, carefully. Still $9,100, locked it again. Shut the drawer, turned the key. Then I said the same line I always said to myself. No one touches my safe. No one even knows about it. That was the last time I'd see my savings whole. Emily's apartment was buzzing when I arrived. Fairy lights everywhere, balloons shaped like the number 24. A playlist that screamed Gen Z chaos. She opened the door herself, already half dancing. "Ayan, bye. You came, and are you wearing blue? Who are you, and what have you done with my cousin?" I smirked. "Birthday wish granted. Happy now?" She threw her arms around me. "Best cousin award goes to you." Inside, the place was packed. My uncles argued over cricket in one corner. My younger cousins made a reel with cake in hand. Emily's college friends danced like no one was watching, or maybe like they wanted everyone to. She looked radiant. Bright red dress, hair curled, gold hoops swaying as she moved. She owned the room, like always. I handed her the gift. She opened it on the spot. Her face softened. "This is beautiful." Then, almost whispering, "You really didn't have. Dun I wanted to," I said. And I meant it. For a while, everything felt good. I danced a little, ate way too much biryani, laughed with cousins I hadn't seen in weeks. At one point, I stepped into the kitchen to grab a soda, stood by the counter, just watching, absorbing that moment. It was warm. Familiar faces, loud music. Emily dancing under twinkling lights, cake in hand, grinning like a child. I remember thinking, this is what happiness looks like. But while I was smiling at her across the room, something else was happening. Back at my apartment, behind my locked door, inside my bottom drawer, someone was breaking the rules, breaking the bond, breaking me, without me even knowing it. Because while I was dancing, while candles were being blown, while Emily hugged me like everything was perfect, someone was opening my safe. Someone who knew exactly where it was. Someone who didn't need to search. Someone who didn't need to break in because they already belonged. And before the night was over, my entire savings would be gone. Every dollar I had bled for. Every second of sleep I gave up. Every plan I had built, stolen. And the worst part? The person who did it was smiling at me the entire night. I got home around 11:30 p.m. My feet ached from standing all evening, and my ears still rang from the party music. But my heart, it was full. Emily had laughed. We danced. She loved the necklace. And for one night, I had allowed myself to breathe, to feel like everything was working out. I unlocked my apartment door. The hallway was dark, as usual. Nothing seemed out of place. I took off my shoes, tossed my keys on the counter, and headed straight for my room. It was quiet, the kind of silence I usually welcomed. But tonight, something felt off. At first, I couldn't figure it out. The air felt a little colder, the energy a little wrong. Then I saw it. My cupboard drawer, the bottom one, the one I never left open, was slightly ajar. My breath hitched. My legs moved faster than my thoughts. I dropped to my knees and yanked the drawer fully open. The safe. The heavy, gray metal safe, wide open, empty. At first I blinked, once, twice. Maybe I was seeing it wrong. Maybe I was just tired. I pulled the drawer out even more, reached inside the safe like maybe the money had slid to the back. But no, it was gone. Every envelope, every bundle, every dollar gone. My chest tightened. I stood up, stumbled back, nearly tripping over my own feet. No. No, 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 I whispered. I threw open the cupboard doors, checked the other drawers, under the bed, behind the curtains. Nothing. I opened the safe again, inspecting the lock. Tiny, almost invisible scratches around the keyhole, like someone had picked it, carefully, skillfully. My head spun. Had I left it unlocked? No. I remembered. I was sure. I had locked it. Like I always did. I fell onto my bed, heart racing. I grabbed my phone and called the police. They arrived 20 minutes later. 2 officers, one young and silent, the other older with tired eyes and a notepad. "Any signs of forced entry?" he asked. I pointed at the front door. It was locked. Everything looked normal. He checked the door, the windows, the balcony. No scratches, no damage, no broken locks. They walked into my room. "This drawer," I said, kneeling in front of it again. "This is where the safe is." I showed them the inside, the now empty metal box. It had over $9,000 in it. The older officer gave me a long look. "Cash?" I nodded. "No bank receipts?" "No, I was saving it for something personal. A business." He knelt down and examined the lock, pulled out a small flashlight, looked at the scratches. "Could depict," he murmured. "No brute force. Clean job." His tone was calm, like this wasn't the first time he'd seen something like this. The younger officer scribbled something into a report. Then the question came. The one that stuck, like a splinter in my mind. "Who else knew about the safe?" I paused. "No one," I said quickly. "I mean, no one, except..." My voice faded. "Emily, she was the only one I ever mentioned it to. Once jokingly during a long conversation last year. But she wouldn't." "Would she? Anyone have access to your apartment?" The officer continued. I shook my head. "I live alone. I don't even have a cleaning service. Only my landlord has a spare key and he's out of town." "And no signs of forced entry," the officer repeated. He closed his notebook. "We'll file the report, but without clear evidence of a break-in or suspect, there's not much we can do right now." They left shortly after, and I was left sitting on my bed, in the dark, shattered. I didn't sleep. I kept walking in circles, opening the drawer, staring at the empty safe. Like somehow, if I kept checking, the money would magically reappear. I imagined every second I'd spent saving that money, every early morning, every canceled plan, every night editing videos until my vision blurred. All for that safe, all for a dream now stolen. I called my landlord the next morning, just in case. He swore no one had entered the flat. He'd been away with family in another city for 2 days. No contractors, no repair workers, nothing. My mind circled back to the same place. "Anyone close to you know about the money?" That question played over and over, like a haunting echo I couldn't mute. I thought of my friends, all struggling students or overworked employees like me. None of them had ever even been to my apartment. I thought of my extended family. They knew I was frugal, knew I worked a lot, but no one ever asked about money, except Emily. And then, something told me to open Instagram. It was 2:15 a.m. when I finally did. I hadn't checked my phone all day, too consumed by the theft, by police reports, by calls to banks and locksmiths and mental breakdowns. But something made me tap that little pink-orange app icon. My feed loaded slowly. The first thing I saw, a bright red ribbon, wrapped around the hood of a car, a caption in gold font. She did it, happy birthday to me, my first car, boss moves, independent queen, and in the photo, smiling, glowing, hands held high in fake surprise, Emily, standing next to a sleek black sedan, shiny, new, expensive. The kind of car that didn't scream used or budget. It screamed, paid in full. My blood went cold. I zoomed into the photo, background, her apartment complex, timestamp, posted. 3 hours ago, the comments were flooding in. What? Girl, how? Car looks dope, can't wait for a ride. Wait, you got a promotion? She replied to none of them. Just posted 3 fire emojis under her own photo. I scrolled further. Yesterday, no mention of a job. Last week, she was complaining about rising rent. 2 months ago, asking in stories if anyone had freelance gigs. Where did this money come from? It hit me like a punch to the chest. The timing, the confidence, the smile. That night, while I danced with her, while I handed her that silver necklace. She already knew, she knew the money was gone. Because she had taken it. And now she was flaunting a new car, paid for by the future I had spent years building. My hand trembled as I locked my phone. For the first time in my life, I didn't know what to feel. Anger, betrayal, confusion. A hollow, aching sadness that sat in my chest like a weight. I stared at the ceiling. The safe was still open, its emptiness staring back at me like a cruel joke. And for the first time since the night began, I whispered out loud, Emily, what did you do? I stared at Emily's Instagram post again. The car, the ribbon, the caption, paid in cash. My dream come true. 2 words clung to my brain like static, paid in cash. Where would she get that kind of money? Her part-time job at the bookstore barely covered rent. Last I heard, she was behind on bills, selling old clothes online to make ends meet. And yet, there she was, beaming, flashing keys, behind the wheel of a brand new, shiny black sedan. My fingers hovered over my phone. I wanted to call her, yell, accuse, but something told me to wait, to be sure, to act smart, not emotional. The next day, I texted her. Hey, saw your car post, looks amazing, we gotta celebrate. Emily, aw, thanks, IKR, dream come true. So how'd you swing it? Promo, lottery, sugar daddy? Emily, lol, nah, nothing like that, just been saving for a while, got a good deal, saving for a while. That's what I had done, except I had $9,300 in a safe 2 days ago. Now I had a hollow metal box and a stomach full of dread. Her answer felt rehearsed, too clean, too smooth, like she'd practiced it in the mirror, but I didn't push. Not yet. I started asking around, casually. I bumped into Hannah, one of Emily's closest friends, at a cafe. We made small talk before I brought up the car. She's been talking about it non-stop, Hannah said, sipping her iced mocha. I mean, I'm happy for her, but like, whole new car? Out of nowhere? Kinda wild, right? I leaned in, curious. Do you know how she paid for it? Hannah shrugged. All she said was, it's handled. Honestly, last week she was borrowing my charger because she couldn't afford a new one. Now she's got an iPhone 15 Pro and leather seats. I froze. A new iPhone? Yeah, she got it right. Before the party, said it was an investment. Something clicked. She'd walked into her birthday party with that phone in hand, snapping selfies, showing off. At the time, I thought she was just borrowing it. Now, it looked like she owned it, a $1,200 phone, and a $25,000 car. Within 48 hours of my money disappearing, I wanted to be wrong. I prayed I was overthinking it, but the signs. They started screaming louder. I expanded the circle. I talked to our cousin Rafi, who once lived in my apartment building, asked if he still had a copy of my spare key. He didn't. But then I remembered something else. Emily had stayed over a few months back, just for a weekend. She'd slept in the guest room. That room had a drawer where I kept random stuff, old receipts, extra chargers, duplicate keys. My stomach dropped. I ran home, opened the guest drawer. Inside, tangled in a bundle of old lanyards and a broken USB stick, was a small silver duplicate key, the same shape and teeth as the key to my front door. My hands shook. I held it up to the light, comparing it to the one on my keyring. Perfect match. I had been so casual, so trusting. She'd stayed over. She'd smiled. She'd laughed. And when I wasn't looking, she'd slipped the key into her bag. My mind went wild with questions. Had she come during the party? Or earlier that day? Was it planned for weeks or an impulsive act? Then, I remembered the scratches on the safe. She didn't just use the front door key. She picked the safe. That meant time. Planning. Tools. Nerve. This wasn't clumsy. It was deliberate. Still, I needed more. I wasn't ready to accuse her based on keys and coincidence. So I drove to her apartment building, under the excuse of returning a charger she'd left at my place. She wasn't home. Her roommate, Tara, let me in. She's out driving her new baby, Tara joked. You should see her, blasting music like she's in Fast and Furious. I smiled thinly. Mind if I use the bathroom? No problem. I passed by the kitchen on my way. That's when I saw it. A crumpled white paper on the counter, half sticking out of the trash. A receipt. Curiosity pulled me toward it. I unfolded it. It was from a check-cashing service downtown. Withdrawal, $9,300, date, the day of the party. Name on it, T. Malik. Emily's full name, Timina Emily Malik. The room spun. I folded the receipt carefully and slid it into my coat pocket. That was it. That was the link. The money had gone missing that very morning. And by afternoon, she was cashing it. By evening, she was blowing out birthday candles. By night, she was driving off in my dreams. I went home, sat on my bed, opened the safe again. The scratches now felt like scars. I looked at my phone. Her Instagram profile was still glowing with likes and comments. My thumb hovered over the call button, but I couldn't press it. Not yet. What if I was wrong? What if someone else had framed her? What if she had found the money some other way? I thought of other suspects. Anyone who'd visited my apartment in the last month. My roommate, Rami. He moved out 2 months ago. Didn't have keys anymore. My ex, Zara, she hated me, sure. She hated. But she didn't know the safe even existed. Family friend, Uncle Wasim. He once borrowed a tool from my apartment, but he's nearly 60. He couldn't even bend to open a drawer, let alone crack a safe. No. The signs didn't point to anyone. Else they all pointed to her. I pulled out the duplicate key again, laid it next to the receipt, then picked up my phone and reread her message. Just been saving for a while. Lie. Got a good deal. Lie. Dream come true. Built on my nightmare. Sat there, numb, staring at the evidence. My heart said, don't believe it. My brain said, you already know. And then the question formed, the one I had tried to avoid for days. What if I'm wrong? Because if I was wrong, I would destroy everything. The bond, the family, the trust. But then came the harder question. What if I'm right? Because if I was right, then someone I loved, someone I trusted like a sister, had stolen everything from me, and not just the money. She'd taken my future, my peace, my belief in people. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't eat. Didn't scroll. Didn't blink. I just sat, in silence, and prepared myself. Because whether I was right or wrong, I had to confront her. I texted Emily 2 simple words. Coffee? Her reply came almost instantly. Sure. Tomorrow, same place? I chose Cafe Verona, the one on 3rd Avenue with big windows and quiet corners. The place where we once laughed over failed dates, bad exams, and overpriced muffins, only. This time I wasn't coming for laughs. I was coming for answers. She arrived 5 minutes late, dressed in a beige trench coat and flawless eyeliner. Same girl I'd once trusted with secrets, dreams, and spare keys. But today, she looked like a stranger. Hey, she smiled, sliding into the booth across from me. You look tired. Everything okay? I smiled back, but it didn't reach my eyes. I wasn't ready to show my cards yet. I've just had a lot on my mind, I said softly. She nodded sympathetically, sipping her latte. Same here, life's just a lot. There was a beat of silence. I leaned in slightly, voice casual but firm. So, how's the car? Her eyes flickered, just for a second. It's amazing, she said, a little too brightly. Drives like a dream. Total blessing. I let that hang in the air, then added, and the phone, new one, right? She blinked. Yeah, finally upgraded. My old one was acting up. Must have been expensive, I said, watching her closely. She shrugged. Nothing too crazy, got a good deal. I tilted my head, Emily. We both know bookstore hours don't cover a car, a new phone, and designer perfume. She froze. For the first time since she walked in, the smile dropped from her face. What are you trying to say? I leaned forward, my voice low, cold. I know about the duplicate key. I found it, in the guest drawer. I know you were the only one who stayed in that room. She stared at me, eyes wide. I didn't stop. I know about the safe. I know you saw me open it once back in February. I know about the receipt I found in your trash, $9,300. Same day my money disappeared. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. You didn't just guess a number, Emily. You knew exactly what was inside. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then, I didn't mean, she stuttered. I didn't think you'd notice so fast. I thought you'd figure it out later and think maybe you miscounted or something. I stared. That was your plan? She broke. Tears welled in her eyes. Her voice cracked. You've always had it easier, okay? You had your own place. A steady job. A future. I was drowning. My rent was overdue. I was behind on everything, and you were locking away thousands in a drawer like it was nothing. That money, I said through clenched teeth, was for my tuition, for paying off my loans, for starting my business. She shook her head violently. I was desperate, okay? I saw you open it once, and then when I stayed over that weekend, I saw the key in the drawer. It felt like a sign. I didn't think you'd miss it that fast. I laughed bitterly. You took everything, and you left me to find an empty box. She reached across the table, hands trembling. I'll pay it back, I swear. Just don't tell anyone. Don't call the cops. Please, I'll fix it. I pulled my hands back, out of reach. And how exactly will you pay it back, Emily? With what money? I'll figure something out. I'll sell the car. I'll pick up extra shifts. Just, please, don't ruin my life. Her voice cracked again. She looked broken, but I felt broken too. For days, I had cried over that money. Panicked, blamed myself, checked every corner for clues, and now the thief sat across from me, wearing lipstick I probably funded. I said nothing, just stood up and walked out. The next few days were a storm. Word got out, my mom found out first, then my aunt, then the cousins. Some were shocked, outraged. Others, they made excuses. She's just a kid. She made a mistake. Family shouldn't drag each other to court. She'll give it back. Just give her time. Are you really going to ruin her life over money? Money, as if they knew what I gave up for every single dollar. The nights I skipped dinner to save. The weekends I worked doubles. The dreams. I held back because I wasn't ready, financially, emotionally, to leap. And now people expected me to just forgive and forget. A few cousins took my side. She betrayed you. You gave her trust. She returned it with theft. This isn't a prank, this is a felony. Still, it tore the family down the middle. Phone calls turned tense. WhatsApp groups turned silent. The next family dinner? Postponed indefinitely. Emily messaged me again. Emily, please, one more talk. I'm begging you. Emily, I didn't think this would get so big. I'm sorry, I hate myself. Emily, just don't press charges. I'll do anything. I didn't reply. Because what do you say to someone who smiled in your face while robbing you blind? I went back and forth. For days, I weighed it all. The betrayal, the tears, the confession, the excuses, the family pressure. And one evening I stood in front of the police station clutching the receipt, the key, my own written statement, and I walked inside. I filed the report, official, documented, on the record. The officer asked, "Are you sure? You want to go through with this? Once we file it, it's active. It won't stay a family issue." I nodded. Yes, I'm sure. Because this wasn't just about $9,300. It was about boundaries. It was about respect. It was about protecting the version of me who worked overtime, who skipped luxuries, who poured everything into her dreams. That version of me deserved justice. Emily was charged with theft. The process was slow, messy, painful. Family. Ties stretched thinner. Some healed, some snapped completely. But me, I slept better. Because the worst part hadn't been losing the money. It had been losing my belief in people, in family, in love that felt unconditional. Now I was rebuilding, piece by piece. This time with stronger locks and wiser eyes. The court gave her probation, no jail time, just a year of supervision, a record that wouldn't disappear quickly, and a judge's stern warning. She was ordered to repay me monthly, $250 at a time, until the debt was cleared. At that pace, it would take more than 3 years. But the money didn't matter anymore. The damage had already been done. The car, gone within 2 weeks. Turns out, she hadn't fully paid for it. She'd made a massive cash down payment to show off on social media. But the rest was financed, without a job stable enough to keep up with payments, and with her name now stained by a criminal record, the dealership reclaimed it. Just like that. Her shiny new freedom, towed away on a rainy Tuesday. She moved back in with her mom. The same childhood. Bedroom, the same cracked closet mirror, the same sagging mattress from high school. People whispered about it. Not openly, of course, but at family dinners. The silence around her name was louder than any shout. No one said Tina out loud anymore. They just avoided the topic. Noticed it first at Aunt Shireen's anniversary dinner. The chairs were packed close, food was steaming, laughter floated over the table like nothing had changed. But Tina's chair sat empty. No one asked where she was. No one dared. One cousin accidentally said, "Remember when Tina?" and stopped halfway, face burning. I nodded gently and took another bite. Because I remembered. She messaged me again a month later. Just a few words. "I'm paying every month. I hope you're okay." I still think about what I did every day. I read it 3 times, then locked my phone and didn't reply. Some things don't need answers. Over the next few months, I focused on one thing. Rebuilding. I changed the locks. Not just the door, but my life. Installed a new digital safe. One with biometrics, no keys, no codes, just my fingerprint. I started saving again, bit by bit. It was slower this time, more cautious. But with every paycheck, every dollar I tucked away, I felt like I was taking my life back. I also found a better job, a remote opportunity that paid more, respected my time, and came with a small team of kind people. No more 15-hour shifts. No more missed birthdays. I had time now. For myself, for healing, and I went to therapy. Something I used to think was a luxury. Now, it became a lifeline. I unpacked the guilt, the confusion, the ache of betrayal that hadn't left me. I told my therapist, "It wasn't just the money, that's what no one understands." She nodded. "What was it then?" "It was the look on her face," I said quietly. When I found out, the lies, the fake smile, the fact that she knew she was stealing from me and still looked me in the eyes, she let that sink in. "That's not something you forget," I whispered. And it wasn't. People say time heals everything. I don't think that's true. Time only gives you space and the healing. That's your job. You build it with new routines. You repair it with small wins. You earn it with boundaries. Family remained complicated. Some relatives treated me normally, like nothing had happened. Some were awkward, polite but distant. A few still believed I'd gone too far by going to the police. But I stopped, justifying myself, because the only person I needed to make peace with was me. One day, my mom asked gently, "Do you think you'll ever forgive her?" I sat with the question, not out of anger, but because it was real, heavy, unavoidable. "I think I already did," I said. "Really?" she asked, surprised, nodded. Forgiveness isn't saying she was right. It's saying I'm done carrying her mistake on my shoulders. She smiled, eyes moist. "I'm proud of you." So was I. I learned something important through all of this. You can love someone and still walk away. You can wish them healing from a distance. You can hope they grow, improve, repent, without letting them back into your life. That's not cruelty. That's self-respect. Emily, me. I wasn't the same girl anymore, the one who laughed freely at birthdays, who kept her world unlocked because she trusted family. That version of me had been stolen too. But the new me? She was stronger, more aware, still kind, but no longer naive. People will hurt you. Sometimes the ones closest to you will cut the deepest, not because they hate you, but because they never valued your trust the way you did. And that's the real heartbreak. But there's beauty in breaking because every time you shatter, you get to rebuild. Smarter, tougher, wiser, like stained glass. Not the same as before, but something uniquely beautiful. And so, I keep going. My savings are growing again. My heart is quieter now. I'm not bitter, just clear. I trust slower. I protect better. I love smarter. Because once you survive a betrayal that big, you never walk blindly again. Sometimes the people closest to you can hurt you the deepest, but that pain also sets you free.